Hi everyone, welcome to Luis Cisneros YouTube channel, and today's polymer clay tutorial is how to make an octopus ring. Hi everyone, just want to say I'm sorry that I haven't posted any videos, but I have been working really hard and making this piece. The first prototype, it didn't work, it just started falling apart and the armature wasn't helping either, so that's the reason I have to redesign. It took me 1 week. Then the next week I spent it making this piece, so I hope you like it, I hope you enjoy it. This is how it looks when you wear it, so I really like the finished product and I hope you like it, and this is how you make it. So this is the material that we're gonna need to create our ring, and first we're gonna need our rack. And if you don't have a rack for beans, what you can do is you can make your own, and you can watch my video on how to make a rack. We need 2 blocks of clay, and I recommend 2 different colors or 1 color and 1 block of a translucent clay. I recommend Primo, and again 1 color is going to be for the main body, the other one is for details. Wire, copper wire, pliers just to bend the wire and to cut it, foil paper, tools, sculpting tools like dotting tool, needle tool, also brush, and a proportional chart that is going to be available in my website for free. We're going to start creating the armature, and we need the wire for these, and I start by measuring the length of the arms. And the wire, what it's gonna do is just gonna go under our fingers. Also, I recommend only 1 piece of wire. As you can see in the video, I use different pieces, but these make not really stable the armature, so try to use only 1 piece of wire, and then measure with the proportional chart, you know how much wire we're gonna need. And also don't forget where the body and the head goes in the 3rd finger, so always compare with the proportional chart, so in that way you will see how it goes with your hand. Then we grab our clay, and we have 3 different pieces for the 3 different arms, and the sizes obviously goes from the smaller to the bigger. We create some cones, and we start incorporating to our armature. Just make sure that you don't leave any wire exposed, and try to also do it with your hand, so in that way you can start shaping the silhouette that you're gonna require for fitting into your hand. And the only way to do this is just by measuring, adding clay, and try it on your hand. So as you can see, I press down the clay just to make the shape of my fingers into the clay, so in that way it fits perfectly. Just make sure to not pressure so much, because if not you will leave the wire exposed. Then we're gonna start shaping our body and head and back of the head. As you can see, I do it just in 1 piece, so I create the body as rhombus, and then the head is gonna be a deformed sphere, and that's what I'm gonna start creating the shape. This is following the proportional chart. Also, I create where the eyes are going to be, so that way you can follow the proportional chart. I will have the shapes that you need to create. I cut in 2 pieces. I incorporate first the low part body, and this is just so it is easy for me to incorporate it into the armature. I use the dotting tool to not leave any wire exposed, and I wear on my hands, and that way I can create the shape where the finger is going to be. Then I incorporate also the top where the eyes and the head and the back head goes. Using the dotting tool, I incorporate pretty well without leaving any crack or space or any wire exposed, and I press really carefully, so in that way I create the shape of my finger. After I smooth it out with my fingers, then with the needle tool I start creating the lines where the top of the arms are going to be. I use the small dotting tool to create this shape, and I draw really careful, and with my fingers I start to smooth the surface. Also on the top of the head I start creating the shape where the eyes are going to be. Then we're gonna start creating the details of the arms, and I created different spheres, different size from the small to the big ones, and I cut it in half. And we're gonna start creating the suction cups. I don't know exactly the name that it has, a scientific name or the proper name, and I start putting them. And I really wanted to make some movement in the arms, so try to not make them straight, so try to give them a start from the bottom and then move in a curve to the top of the arm. So the way again to make these is just by grabbing the sphere, putting where you want to put it, and with the needle tool just create a small mark where you're gonna use your small dotting tool to create the dip that it has the cup, so the inside the cup. And then for the base, to incorporate the base, you use the needle tool just really smoothly without affecting the shape, just to blend it with the arm. So the base of the cup, you're gonna blend it just with the needle tool. And to create the cup and the inside the cup the bigger, you use the dotting tool in circles when you create the inside as the size you want it to be. Then try to follow always in pairs, so that way you work in twos. Just be really careful with your fingers. Try to not affect the other arms when you're working on the piece. So you're gonna do exactly the same with the other arms. So we create a small spheres, always in pairs from the small to the biggest ones. Then we start incorporating in pairs. You can start from the top of the arm or from the bottom of the arm, and you can start also just incorporating the spheres and then texturize. On the base on the sphere, you use the needle tool just to incorporate into the arm and try to be really delicate, so that way you don't affect the shape. Then with the dotting tool, you create the inside of the cup. After that, we're gonna focus on our eyes. I create two small spheres, black spheres, and then we're gonna actually cover them mostly with one of the lightest colors that you want. This light color, I mix the translucent clay with the main color that we're using for this piece, in this case the pink, the hot pink. Then I cover the entire eye except for the front, and this is just to create the eyelids of the octopus. As you can see, the eye doesn't close completely, it just leaves it's a shape of a rectangle, and that's actually what it is. I use the latex tool just to make sure that I have straight lines, and that's all. Just to create a little bit of detail, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put with the darker color just a small spheres on the top of the eyelids, and that way you can incorporate them. And I'm gonna make it closer so that way you can see how do they look like, and this is the way that they look. Don't worry about to be perfect, this is just to add detail to the eyelids. Just make them different sizes and you're covered. After you bake your eyes, you're gonna incorporate where are going to be. We'll already shape a little bit the head for this. So just make sure they're at the same level. Then we're gonna add a little bit of clay just around the eye. So as you can see, I just created first one and I measure it, and then the other side is gonna be exactly the same size, so I know how much clay I'm gonna use. And what I do is just I create a cylinder and then I incorporate it with the dotting tool and I run the eye with it. Use your dotting tool and your needle tool just to help you incorporate it pretty well without leaving any gap. Now we continue with the arms, and we're gonna finish the cups, and we add the same light color that we use for the eyelids, and this is gonna be on the top of our cups. I recommend to use the translucent clay, so that way adds a super cool effect, especially because in real octopus this part it looks like more translucent, so this is a really cool effect. So what I do, I actually do a smaller spheres that are the ones that we use for the base of the cup, and then I put it on the top, and with the needle tool I create the mark, and then with the dotting tool I create the cup. So these suction cups, they look really cool if we do it like that. So again, I just created the spheres, and then after creating the sizes, always in pairs, so you know that it's always in pairs because they always have two. Then I added to the existing suction cups that I have. So again, I put it on the top with the needle tool, I put the mark, and then with the dotting tool I create the suction cup. So that's usually what I do. For the really tiny small ones, I don't use the dotting tool because I don't have a really tiny small dotting tool, so I just only use the needle tool, and I create in circles and I pull up, so that way I create the inside of the cup and I make it deeper. So that's the effect that I do. Just make sure to not affect so much with your fingers the shape that you already creating the arms. You have to be really delicate. If after that you can finish with the dotting tool just to make the top of the cup bigger. Also, try to not press so hard with the dotting tool, because if not, you affect the base of the cup that you previously did. If this happens, use your needle tool just to create the cup again, the base of the cup, and to make it taller, because when you press down with the dotting tool, it just flattens, and you don't want that because you will lose the effect. So as you can see, to make it faster, I just put on the top all the spheres that I created, and then just create the mark with the needle tool, and then with the dotting tool I make it bigger. For those that are really small, I use the needle tool just to create the hole. To create more volume, I use the dotting tool, and in that way, that's how I create a bigger cups, and I thin the wall of the cup. So I do that, and that makes a really cool effect. Then in the bigger cups, because you're able to see more detail, I actually create a hole in the middle, and I press really hard in the middle with the dotting tool, and then I open the cup too with the dotting tool, and that makes a really cool effect. We're gonna create just a hole just behind the ears in both sides, and this is where our siphon is going to be. We use a medium dotting tool for that. Then we measure and we create the siphons that are going to be closed, so they're in a shape of a tear, and also the detail that it goes around the hole, and this is just to add more detail. So we create a cylinder that it goes around the hole. We incorporate with the small dotting tool and we texturize. And there, the shape of the tear, we put the siphon that is closed. We do it on both sides. We're gonna start customizing our octopus, and this is really cool. Just we're gonna add some texture. This is where you can apply different colors. I recommend a darker color, but do not use the same color as you use for the bodies. In this case, as you can see, I use the dark pink. There are different spheres, different sizes that they're gonna flatten. After you cover the entire body with the dots, we're gonna texturize with a small dotting tool, pressing hard so we create a nice texture. Then we put our piece into the rack and it's ready to bake. After you let it cool down and you wait like around 3 hours, then you can wear it safely in your hand. This is an option that you can put some gloss and it will look pretty cool. Thank you for watching this series, Accessories. If you have any comments or suggestions, post them below this video. Don't miss out the next episode, how to sculpt the 3 Wise Monkey bracelet. And if you'd like to support this channel, don't forget to subscribe.